Thanks everyone for joining. So today we're going to have a bit of a look at Adobe Express. I will share that window with you. If at any point you can't hear me or the slides stop moving or anything like that, make sure you yell out. If you've got any questions, then pop them in the chat, or you can come off mute and just say them. That'd be great as well. Lynn will monitor the chat and interrupt me if I have any questions. So I've put in the chat right at the start, there's some PDF of the slides that you'll see. So there's some instructions on those slides as we go through some activities. You can refer back to those. And then I believe the actual slideshow will be made available to you potentially, Lynn, so you can access links and stuff like that as well.
Yep, absolutely. We'll make sure that all resources are made available. We'll be sending them out when we send out the copy of the recording.
Great. So my role with Adobe is as the customer success manager, and I work exclusively with the Department for Education. So what that means is I really am here to provide enablement for you to use the products and help schools drive adoption of Adobe products, those kinds of things. So if you're keen on professional learning, anything like that, then you're welcome to get in touch with me, and I'm keen to work with you guys to give you what you need. So today we're going to look at Adobe Express. These are your learning objectives. So firstly, we'll have a bit of a navigate through the interface and get you familiar with that. We'll speak a bit about Adobe Firefly and get you guys generating some images using Firefly. We'll have a look at how you can use templates and distribute templates to your class. We'll have a look at Animate from Audio and how students might use Animate from Audio as a mode of presentation. And then we'll do a bit of an activity with some real-time collaboration to show how you can collaborate with Adobe Express as well. And I'll give you a quick demo of Express web pages that could be used for demonstrating processes or learning folios, that kind of stuff. So firstly, I'm not sure if people have been able to log in yet or not. If you haven't, then go ahead and log in. There's a couple of things to note so you can go straight to adobe.com and then sign in. Make sure you sign in with your email, and then you should be able to use your @schools.sa.edu credentials. If you can't, then you would have an Adobe ID, and hopefully you've remembered that password. When you click on that, particularly if you've previously had an Adobe ID, you'll see this personal account and you'll see this company and school account. So you need to go to the company or school account. And then even after that window, you might find that there's two options for you that says corporate or your school. Make sure you choose your school. And that means that you'll go through your license that's allocated through your school admin console. All right, so the next part here is just to have a bit of a look at the Adobe Express interface. Yours looks a little bit different to mine because you have an education skew. So firstly, this top ribbon up here is where you can do some broad searches. Anytime you click on that Adobe Express logo at the top, it's going to take you back to this home screen. So if you're on a project and you want to get back to a home screen, start a new project, then make sure you click that Adobe Express logo. And then over here you have some other sort of options where you can see your profile, access your Creative Cloud, etc. So when you're in, you can see down the bottom, you'll get some recent projects that you can select from. Otherwise, you've got a menu that sort of helps you to select what you might be looking for. So if you're looking to do social media posts or something like that, then you have templates. If you click on that, you'll get templates for those kinds of things, video, photo, document, etc. Or if you're keen to use the generative AI tools, then click on that and you'll see them there. These things that come up here are all templates that you can use. And then the menu down the side is a global menu where you can see some things, access files, things like that. So if you go into your stuff, then you'll find your files. And then this is where you've got your brands and your libraries. So Lynn has shared a library with you called Introduction to Adobe Express, where you have some templates in there. If you might see a notification up here that says that you've been shared in with the library, or you would have gotten an email that says you've been shared into a library. So that's the way that I did that was, well, the reason I did that firstly was because I wanted to share some templates with you to give you some resources that you could take away, but also some templates that you could remix today and have a bit of a play with as well. So it's a great way for your kids, for your classes, to give them some scaffolding when you're going into a project rather than just giving them a blank page. So you can give them a reflection template or a visible thinking routine template like I've done for you guys. So if you click on your stuff and then libraries, then here's my introduction to Adobe Express library. There's the 3 dots here, and you can invite people that way. And you can type their names in individually, or you can bulk invite them. So if you have a spreadsheet with their emails on it, you can just highlight the column with their emails and paste it in there, and then send it off, and that'll share out the library to all of those emails. Then down here, you have some options to explore, and I believe you have one down here. Instead of learn, it says educator resources. If you click on educator resources, then that takes you to a bunch of resources from our education exchange, things like creative challenges, or there's also lesson ideas, lesson templates, professional learning opportunities, things like that, and some blogs that you can access as well. So if you aren't sure or you're looking for some resources to use with your kids, go to that educators resources part, and there's bound to be something that you can use in there for all different learning areas. Okay. Are there any questions about the user interface? Cool. Anyone have any troubles logging in? Okay. Let me just back here. Okay, so we've had a bit of a look at that. I'll talk to you a bit about our generative AI now. So our generative AI model is called Firefly. It's an image generator that has deep integrations with a bunch of our different applications. So those bits that you saw in Adobe Express, there are Firefly integrations where you can do text to image, text effects. We've also got generative fill built into there, and generative expand is in Photoshop, recolor is in Illustrator. So the purpose of Firefly is really to accelerate the creative process and allow and lower the floor for entry. So you can actually do things really, really fast using those AI tools that would otherwise take a high degree of skill and a long time to actually achieve in Photoshop or in Adobe Express, etc. So our AI model is built with guardrails. So there's firstly, you can toggle it off from your admin console if you want to, which means that no user in that admin console will be able to use Firefly if that's what you choose. There's also some prompt filtering. So if someone puts a prompt into Firefly and it breaches the user guidelines, or the Firefly deems that it breaches the user guidelines, then it won't generate anything. The model's trained on royalty-free materials, so that's material from Adobe stock where the creators are paid and not paid royalties, they're paid an outright fee, or it's trained on the public domain content where the copyright has expired. So that's all to mitigate breaching copyright infringements and respecting the IP of other people. And Adobe has this content authenticity initiative, which we have a bunch of different subscribers to, but really that allows us to track where Firefly is being used. So every time Firefly is used to generate an image, there's a content credential that's attached to that image in the metadata, and you can actually track that back so you can see if Firefly is being used. Okay, so let's do an activity. So did everyone get access to the library? If you've got the library, you'll see that there's a bunch of different templates there. So what I'll do is let's go back to Adobe Express. When you have a library with a template, you can click into that library, your templates will be down here. And then you can click on the template. So if you're sharing a library with your students, then this is what will happen to them. It'll ask them to start a new file, and then they will have their own file of that. So if you want to, you can open up that. Doesn't need to be this one, any of those templates. This is just one that I'm choosing to do. And then, so this visible thinking routine, there's a bit of an explanation on the next page here, but headlines is one where you might give the students a prompt, an image prompt, something like that, and get them to write a headline for that image prompt. Or for today's activity, what I'll get you to do is put your own prompt in and then write your own headline, and see how you go. So I'll show you how I did the example. If I want to add some media, so here you can see on the side there's stock images that are available already. So you're free to use those stock images, video and audio as well. Or if I want to use Firefly, I can click this text to image button here. And I want this to be, I think that's widescreen. So you can choose the dimensions of your prompt. And then up here in this box, you type what you want the prompt to be. So and these buttons down here help you to refine your prompt. So you can choose certain styles without actually having to write that in your prompt. So it's, again, a helpful tool to be specific about the prompt that you want, and not having to write that in your prompt up here. So I'm going to go for a photo. I want to be looking out the window of a tropical barley hut, and then click generate, and we'll see what happens. Right, so you can see a bunch of different options come up. So on the side here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 different options. If I'm not happy with any of them, I could load some more, or I could go up here and I could refine my prompt a little bit and generate again to see if it gives me something different. That's going to be all right for me at this point. So what I want to do though is I want to remove what's in that window there so that I can put something behind it, to make my prompt a little bit more provocative. So if I move out of here, make sure that my image is selected, then some of these or any of these tools that I choose to use will be applied to that image. So I want to use the eraser. So when you're erasing, you can choose either to have a circle brush or a quick selection. This quick select tool's the same thing that you see in Photoshop. This quick select tool is for selecting, for doing erasing though. So I'll just want to erase that window, and that makes that part there now transparent. So that what you're seeing at the back there is that newspaper image that I've got behind my barley hut. So I'm just going to do this like that. All right, I'm happy with that. Click done. So now to make my image provocative, I want to put a snowy landscape in the background. So it's like looking out of a barley hut into a snowy landscape, and then we'll see what kind of a headline the kids would come up with after that. So I'm just going to choose a stock video now. So I'll go to stock. Let's say snowy mountains. So there's some snowy mountains. Kind of want it to be snowing though. So let's change that. Snowing in the mountains. Okay, let's use this one. So I'll click on that. Should put it into my image. Cool. Okay. All right. So if I make it bigger like that, then what you see on the right-hand side here is my layers. So on it, I just want to put that video behind my layers like that. And now I've got Bali hut snowing in the background. So if that's going to be my prompt, then let's make a headline. So my headline might be insulation shortage or something like that. What I can then do with this, if I want to use Gen AI to do some text effects, then down here, I can add some text effects here, or I can animate. Again, so I'll put some prompts here. You can change how you want that effect to be. So I want this to be a little bit loose, and I want it to be flames. Generate. And then again, you can see that there's some different options here. So I'm happy with that. We'll keep those options. Just going to make that a little bit smaller in there like that. Okay. And there is my visible thinking routine. So if I was going to make this a template, I click the three dots up the top here, and then click make a template, give the template a name, headlines, and then select which library I want to add that to. So you might have a library there that says Year 9 science class or whatever it might be. All right, are there any questions coming up?
Only some access issues, but that may be related to whether or not the site has access to the Adobe admin.
Okay.
So.
All right. So the next bit might be asking the students to actually present what they've done. And we know that, I know from experience that students often won't like getting in front of the class and presenting, or they won't like even getting in front of the camera and presenting. So what we have is Animate from Audio, which is a functionality that's brought in from Character Animator. So I'll show you this quick video here to see how it can work, and then I'll step you through how you might actually do it. Do you have that computer audio coming through? No. Try one more time. No. Okay, that's all right. You guys will get access to those anyway, so you can see that video if you like. But what I'll do is actually show you what that video is explaining anyway. Okay, let's go back here. So if I want to present something using Character Animator, then what I can do is back in the home screen here, this purple button shows us a bunch of different things. So we can look at, this would start from scratch if I'm picking different sizes here, and then we've got set dimensions that will allow you to do specific things like a LinkedIn post or blogs, business cards, etc. Or we have quick actions over here. So we can do things like remove backgrounds from images, an image that you select really easily. You can convert an MP4 to a GIF, crop an image, trim a video, generate QR codes. And what I'm going to do here is animate from audio. So here's my character, and there's a bunch of different characters that you could choose from here. So I might choose, I'm going to choose Sam. And then here you can enhance your speech. So what that does is it removes background noise from the room around you and just focuses on your own voice, using some AI technology there as well. So then when you press record, it'll count you down, and then you can record some audio, and then the AI again will take the audio and actually animate the character around the sounds that you're making. So there's been a shortage of insulation in Bali, and that's caused great concerns for residents because it's just begun to snow. Take a little while just to do the work for you. Okay, almost there. All right, and then you can preview it. Open it in the editor. So now this is making that animation a new project for me. Should see it pop up. And now you can see that there's a timeline down here. So this has actually made it a video file. 11.2 seconds. We can you guys don't have my audio, do you? But that's okay. So what I'll do now is if I want to integrate this into another project, I need to download it as an MP4. Just keep it the original size and let it go a little bit quicker. So what you can do with this timeline now is actually trim, cut, and edit videos in the same way that you would in Premiere Rush or Premiere Pro or other video editors as well. But it's really got some drag and drop functionality, which makes it nice and easy to do. All right, so that's downloaded there for me. Now I can go back to my previous Project not saved yet. That's all right. I think it's downloaded. So I can go back to my previous project. And now I want to upload that video. So that's in my download, so I can upload from here. Downloads. There it is. And then it goes in there. All right, so that's in there now. Now, I made a bit of a mistake with this. I left the background in there. When you go into Animate from Audio, it allows you to choose the background and you can choose no background. So I didn't choose no background, and that's why there's that gray bit there. So that was just a mistake I made. If I want to now do some edits with the timeline, what I can do is click Edit Timeline, and then my timeline comes up here. And I want to show the layer timing here. So I can see this is my underlying image, and then this is my video here. So I can bring that in later if I want to. Right. And I can, if I've got that selected now, what I can do is do some animations. So let's bungee her in. If I want to animate other things that are in my project, I can do that too. So I can see that that text, now that it's selected, that's come up onto my timeline. That doesn't mean that my other one has disappeared. It just means that that's the one that's selected on the timeline. So I want to animate that one as well. And we'll make that fade in. But I want this fade to last for a little while. And then fade out. All right. Fade out. Cool. All right. And then let's have a look. All right. So if I pull that down, and I'll actually, so you can expand it if you want to make finer tune changes like this. If you want to split your video, you can right click and split it, and you can actually put transitions in here now. So if you click the button, the plus button, you can add a scene in there, or you can add a transition, and there's some to choose from here. So your classic dissolve. Let's see what that looks like. Bit of a dissolve. Okay. So what I'd like to give you a chance to do, we've got a little bit of time left. If you've made some something with your template, what I'd like you to do is, I'll give you a bit of extra time to do that as well. What I've done is given you a page here. So this is to show the collaboration function as well. So what I'll do is share this with you. So if I click share at the top, then I can change the access permissions. So I want anyone with the link, you can change that to anyone at your organization or only invited people. You can change editing or commenting rights there as well. So I want to copy that link, and then what I'll do is pop it in the chat. And this is how I know if you've done anything or not. No stress if you haven't. So what you should be able to do now is click on that link and then go into this project. We should see people start to pop up, and you can actually see them. You can actually see them come in. What I'd like you to do is take a page from one of these pages. So you can click across, or you can go up here to view all of the pages, double click to choose a page, and then paste in what you've done, what your work is there, put your name in there, and then you could go through, have a look at what other people have done. And if you're keen on what they've done, you like it, find a thumbs up in the icon. So you're in elements. This is where you find your assets like shapes, backgrounds, those kinds of things. You can find icons here as well. So type thumbs up in there and click search, and then you'll get your thumbs up. And then you can click on that and place a thumbs up on the project that you like. All right, see how we go. I'll give you 5 or so minutes to do that. I know that's not a lot of time, but see how you go. I can see some people jumping in there. That's great. And there's Adobe swag in it for you. So whoever gets the most thumbs up or does something, is going to get some Adobe swag. I can see people jumping in now at the top here. That's great. Put some work in. You might, if you didn't want to do a thumbs up, you could leave a comment and say, yep, that's cool. So what this is demonstrating here is how you can actually get kids to do some group work and collaborate together. So you might put them in groups of 3 or something like that. You could have the actual task instructions on the front page, and then you could have assigned roles for those students, and then just give them the links and let them go ahead and put some work together. So if you need some instructions here, what I'll do is pop those instructions. So go to the page. If you've made your own headline or used another template, then go ahead and copy and paste that in. Have a bit of a play with some of the Firefly functions and put something in there. Leave a comment or leave a thumbs up for your colleague. All right, so you can even see where people are on your project. So I think that's pretty cool. We might kick on a little bit. Feel free to keep having a bit of a play if you wish. So next, what I wanted to do is just show you how web pages can be used to tell digital stories as well. So when you're in Adobe Express, if you go back home, when you're starting a new project here, this is all in alphabetical order from here, right? So if you scroll down, all the way to web pages, this is where, for those of you who know Adobe Spark, this is all Adobe Spark functionality. So this is your web page that you can edit. So you can change your cover, put a photo in there, or split the layout. And then each time you want to add an element to your web page, use this plus button and you get some options here. So what I'll do, this is one that I made a while ago as a bit of a bio. So you can add images and then window the image. So if you click here and then add an image, if I click that image, then you can choose for it to be in line or fill the whole screen or be a window. At the moment, this one's a window. You can see that's selected. And what that does is it just looks like you're looking through a window like that. You can add text. You can add photos in a grid. You can have this split layout here where you've got a large image, and then you can add content and content on this side as well here. There's another window image where you can have some captions. So you can add above and below those captions as well if you wanted to put a little bit of text in there as well to explain what you're seeing here. This image as well is actually the image that I took was only about that big. And then to allow it to fit in that whole screen like that, I really needed the image to be wide. So what I was able to do was import that image into Photoshop, and then I used Generative Expand, which is just the cropping tool in Photoshop, and went beyond the borders of the image. And what you can see here, and you can kind of see like that railing there hasn't really come out perfectly, and some bits over here sort of aren't perfect. But all this side of the image and this side of the image here is generated by Firefly, generative AI. And that was just so that I could have me on the focus in that image. And you can see where there were bits of mistakes and stuff like that. So that was one cool use case and something useful that I found Firefly for, and that was in Photoshop, Generative Expand. So another window, a few windows like that, a bit of text. You can embed YouTube and Vimeo clips in there. So what I see web pages as being really useful for is for students to be able to demonstrate a process. So you might be doing some design thinking or something like that, where they've really started from scratch in some way, and you can see their process, and as they progress, then their outcomes are getting better and better and better. So this is a way that, and then, well, when you share it, you can publish it, publishes to the web, and then copy the link, and then they can submit a link to you. For these links, they do go onto the web, but I don't believe that the websites are really actually searchable. Like if you search for Eric and Adelaide on Google, you wouldn't find this web page. Okay, so when you're actually making it, it looks a bit sort of clunky with these pluses in there, but when it's actually published, you don't see that, and it looks a little bit smoother like that, right? So I think that's pretty cool. All right, we are just about out of time. I'm keen to field any questions you've got. So that was that part. These slides here are just describing the Education Exchange. So this is a hub of resources that you guys have access to, and those resources that you can see on Adobe Express, the educator resources, are from the Education Exchange. We have Adobe Creative Educator certification. So there's 3 levels to that. If you're keen to do that, our senior education specialist, Tim Kitchen, runs those sessions. They go for 90 minutes. And there'll be opportunities that come up for those ACE educators to work with us at events and stuff like that in the future. This page is to some links. So there's resources here, media literacy, a bunch of different links there. These are Tim Kitchen's links to creative challenges, student pro tips. They're things you might like to do with your students, and they're ready to go now. And this is our Adobe collaboration team that you can join, and you get access to me through this team. You can ask questions. I put links and professional learning out on there, so that's really to stay connected, as well as through there's a link to events there, as well as through the Facebook community and those kinds of things. What I would love for you to do is just to spend a couple of minutes. It's very short. Do some feedback for me. I'd be very, very appreciative, so that when I do this in the future, I can not make the same mistakes I did this time. And if there's questions you'd like to discuss anything, please let me know.
Thanks so much, Eric. That was great. The form will be sent out to you in the resources that I email you out tomorrow, Kristen, tomorrow or early next week. Yeah, you'll definitely get a copy of all of these resources. So yes, you'll be able to access that form.
Yeah, no worries. If you would like
professional learning, or if you're keen to do some projects with Adobe, then feel free to get in contact with me. Send me an email. You know, I'm happy to work with you to try and help you with what your school needs in terms of your digital literacy and come up with a program that suits your school. So happy to do that.
Yeah, they certainly will, Cheryl. Okay, so I'm going to stop this recording now, but still feel free to ask any questions if you have any.
On Adobe Express on the iPad, so it's a web app, and also there is a mobile app, but the web app and the mobile